Hello, this is Jeff Mucci with RCR Wireless News, and we are live with Roger Dewey, who is co-founder and Executive VP of Device Cloud Networks. Roger, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Well, at Mobile World Congress, you announced a new global M2M platform. Can you tell us why it's disrupting or has potential of disrupting the M2M space?
Sure. DCN is fundamentally different in two aspects. Number one being our architecture of our solution along with our business model. If you're a major global OEM or enterprise, let's say like a car company in the automotive space, you've got some challenges. So you see the value of connecting the vehicles with regards to the services that you can provide to the vehicle owners, long-time relationships, and that sort of thing. So there's plenty of benefits there for the existing car purchaser plus advanced services that will be sold in the future. The challenge comes in when you start to try to manage that connectivity, and it's not just for car companies. It's really for anybody who's looking for a connected a device that they're going to ship across borders and in different markets. Has a challenge in that their assumption is mostly that it's going to be like the wired internet, where they can build one version of a machine or device and ship it anywhere in the world. And you run into this problem with mobility because you have the issue with the subscription. And each country that you're shipping into will require a subscription that's unique to the mobile operator in that country, and this causes problems in two different levels or two different aspects of the business at that point. One is on the ISIT side, so you have your application that needs to be integrated to the communications layer. But because each one of those operators has their own provisioning and management platforms for those mobile subscriptions, that means every country that you're going to be shipping into and communicating with devices, your application has to be integrated into a different platform, and it's different workflows, different procedures, etc. So this becomes a fairly large issue on the ISIT level. Then you also get the problem with manufacturing. You want to build a machine or machines in one central location for efficiency and have as few SKUs as possible, one part number that you can ship anywhere in the world. But then you get that issue of that embedded subscription. Do you put different SIM cards in there at time of manufacture for different countries? In which case then you have different part numbers or different SKUs that are specific for the countries that you're going to be doing business in. Or do you ship them without subscriptions in them, just with a SIM card holder, and then restage when it gets to the country where it's going to be deployed? So there's challenges with that, particularly if you're looking at an OEM automotive, a car, in that those telematics boxes are quite often very difficult to get to by design under an engine. So the restage is not practical, and particularly with the new SIM form factor of MFF2 form factor, which is the surface-mounted flow soldered SIM. So it becomes a hardware component that goes on the production line. And you have that challenge there. Do you have to set up a different production line with different versions of the SIMs running down there? So what we do at DCN is we've actually changed the model in our architecture and our business model. And we kind of detached the subscription management platform from the individual operators and provide one platform that's under the control of enterprise or OEM that's good globally. So the subscriptions do not reside at that point on the operator's platform, but up on the platform that we provide at DCN that's under the enterprise's control. This leads to a really different business model in that when an OEM is looking to source connectivity from different operators around the world, they put out an RFP, and the assumption is not that, okay, we will integrate to your platform, Mr. Operator, and we will use your SIM. The assumption is that you will provide us with your subscriptions, your MZs, or ranges of MZs for big blocks, that will reside on the DCN platform, because at DCN we have our own core network and HLR that's a multi-tenant HLR that can handle the subscriptions of many, many different operators. So those MZs are provided to DCN to reside on the platform, and we provide the platform to our OEM customers as a service. And the traffic then gets routed to the DCN platform through the signaling network. So for example, if we're using a Swiss subscription, for those IMSI ranges that are provided to the OEM, let's say from Orange, Switzerland, for argument's sake. In the signaling network, that traffic for that IMSI range would be pointed to our platform that's actually in Iceland, because we own and control a licensed mobile operator out of Iceland, which allows us to do this. And that provides us with the ability to have one point of integration and interconnect for our customers globally. So they just interconnect to our one platform in Iceland that's also integrated to our core network. And then we provide them with SIM cards, and every SIM comes with an Icelandic subscription. And so we ship it to them. They put it in the machines in the factory as they're produced. And when you ship it anywhere in the world, let's go back to Switzerland, you turn on the car for the first time in Switzerland, and it attaches to the network and comes back home to Iceland and says, hey, I'm roaming in Switzerland. And the platform's designed in such a way to say that's because you're supposed to be Swiss. And we pick one of those Swiss subscriptions off our HLR, and through standard over-the-air technology, we OTA it to the SIM to make it local in the Swiss market. So now you have a local Swiss subscription and a Swiss radio network, but it's actually operating off the core network in Iceland for that one point of interconnection, again, for the application and the gathering of diagnostics and provisioning, deprovisioning, all that sort of thing. So I know it's kind of a wordy explanation, but that's what we do here at DCN. That's how we fundamentally change the model and shift control of the business processes and the business model from the supply side, being the mobile network operators, up to the OEM or enterprise side.
Okay. Oh, and so to summarize, if you don't mind, just in maybe 15 seconds, what makes your model unique?
What makes it unique really is that we provide a platform as a service to OEMs and enterprise that gives them control over the communications connectivity for the full lifetime of the machine or the device. Our technology even allows them to change operators over the air 2-3 years later in the machine's lifetime. They don't need to go access the SIM or change integration to a different operator's platform. It's all set up for them up front.
Okay. And in terms of unleashing innovation, can you maybe speak to some specific case studies where you're effectively unleashing technology or innovation that perhaps in the past have been on the sidelines?
Sure, and that's I love to talk about this story. We've got a customer, and we had an announcement at Mobile World Congress with them called Animom. And Animom, if you go back to my original premise that it's very difficult to have all these multiple points of interconnection to these different operators, and to also manage multiple different SKUs of machines coming out of a factory. It can be done by large OEM automotives or large meter companies, but it really is way beyond the complexity and the ability to scale for small innovators and guys in garages who are doing neat stuff and want to do neat stuff. And Animom is a company that's a startup that comes out of a Swiss university, and it is a group of animal husbandry professors and biologists who came up with a solution for breeding cows in Switzerland. And it's a device that is inserted into the uterus of a cow and monitors the temperature, the hormones, and that sort of stuff to tell you when a cow's in heat. Because cows go in heat once every 8 months, and they have about a 16-hour window. And if you miss that, you've lost the ability to produce another cow, which is either more meat or more milk or more something for a farmer. So these guys, again, they did this at a university, and it's a great solution that really helps farmers in their productivity. And they realized this cow is everywhere in the world, and we can bring this to the world. The problem popped up when they started to understand this complexity, that there are 3 or 4 scientists, and now they needed this large ISIT integration team into different operators around the world, and they needed to manage different SKUs because these devices would have to be shipped to different countries with different subscriptions embedded in them. And at that point, they were kind of locked in the Swiss market unless they could come up with a whole bunch of money to manage this. When they saw our solution, they instantly realized that, hey, we don't need to worry about that. We don't need this. All we need to do is to embed DCN SIMs into our devices and integrate our application platform into the DCN platform one time, and our addressable market is now the world. And that was a really great story and a really powerful story Because early on, we really were focused on the problems of the existing users of this technology, and this really showed the potential to bring in those who are sitting on the sidelines, who aren't participating in the Internet of Things because of the cost and complexity. So I think there's a real upside here to grow the market, not just for us to attack the existing market, but to grow the market at a rapid pace with this solution.
Okay, well, you're one of the co-founders. Can you talk about the formation of the company and the history of the company and how you're funding operations today?
Yeah, sure. So our company was founded by a man named Blake Swinsford, who started a company called WorldCell in the United States in the mid-'90s, and it was geared towards road warriors, people who were traveling around the world and at the time had TDMA and CDMA phones, and their phones wouldn't work when they went to Europe. And so Blake started one of the first MVNOs by buying wholesale from operators around Europe and creating rate plans and providing GSM phones for these road warriors, and a lot of work with the State Department, the Department of Defense, large organizations like that who had a lot of overseas travelers. Around about 2000, he understood that instead of buying wholesale capacity, he could do that, but he could do a lot more if he had an operator license. And a license came up in Iceland, and that's when he got IMC Iceland in 2000, which gave us the ability to have those subscriptions and roaming agreements, which are very key to the DCN story, because we need that original subscription, that IMSI on that SIM card, which we refer to as a bootstrap IMSI, and we need that roaming agreement so that the device will attach to a network to be able to call home to get the updating of the local subscription. So we have the subscriptions, and we have roaming agreements, 384 roaming agreements, which gives us coverage in 185 countries and territories to be able to fulfill the DCN mission. So this has been a kind of an evolution out of that original business towards machine-to-machine and the Internet of Things. And we formed DCN at the end of 2012 to specifically attack this market.
Okay. One final question, Roger. What role is DCN playing in the actual creation of M2M devices? Because it seems as though in every application, particularly one you just mentioned, it's a very unique device into which you're putting a SIM card. Can you maybe talk a little bit about the role you're playing in the module creation or the module design?
On the device side, I actually, it's been a long time. My career in machine-to-machine started at the module level with Sony Ericsson and Telit Wireless Solutions. So a lot of the thought that went into this is the challenges of the folks at the device end. You know, the operator side, yeah, the infrastructure's there, the connectivity. The problem really comes in when you're doing this, and the ability to do what we do with this embedded SIM, this surface-mounted SIM, really helps solve those manufacturing problems. As we move through it, and we're not at that point yet, we will continue to work towards a certification regimen that will allow for a let's say a global certification. If you remember, I said, well, with my friends at Atomom, the Swiss Cow guys, it gave them a global addressable market. They still have the challenge where in those markets you need to have individual certifications, which add cost and complexity. And on our whiteboard, and like I said, this is kind of phase 2 of the company once we get it launched, is looking at how do we come up with some partners, some of the certification houses, some of the testing labs with a superset of requirements that would enable folks to rapidly get to market and have certified products.
Great. Roger, thanks for your time today. Best wishes for great success on your new product launch.
Great. Thanks for the opportunity again.
Yes, sir.